This was all of the talk last night. Man of Steel, writes Fox News. Charlie Kirk's body stopped a bullet that would typically just go through everything, and it was an absolute miracle nobody else was killed, his surgeon told TPUSA. So what this is based on is the following tweet from Andrew Colvett, who's at TPUSA. So he is recounting a conversation with the surgeon. So he tweets out, and as you can see, 14 million views as of the time I put this slideshow together. This was absolutely everywhere, I guess, last night. Pardon me. I want to address some of the discussion about the lack of an exit wound with Charlie. So there was no exit wound according to the video, and Candace Owens watched the footage from the back. There was a camera set up in back of Charlie Kirk, and she said she saw no exit wound, which we'll get to. I'm usually not interested in delving into most of this kind of online chatter, and I apologize, this is somewhat graphic, but in this case, the fact that there wasn't an exit wound is probably another miracle, and I want people to know. I just spoke with the surgeon who worked on Charlie in the hospital. He said the bullet absolutely should have gone through, which is very normal for a high-powered, high-velocity round, the 30-06. I've seen rounds from this caliber many times, and they always just go through everything. Wounds, sorry. This would have taken a moose or two down, an elk, etc. But it didn't go through. Charlie's body stopped it. I mentioned to his doctor that there were dozens of staff, students, and medical guests standing, and special guests. Sorry, I got to full screen this because I'm not able to see this properly. There we go. Sorry about that. That there were dozens of staff, students, and special guests standing directly behind Charlie on the other side of the tent. And he replied, it was an absolute miracle that someone else didn't get killed. His bone was so healthy and the density was so impressive that he's like the Man of Steel. It should have just gone through and through. It likely would have killed those standing behind him, too. In the end, the coroner did find the bullet just beneath the skin. Even in death, Charlie managed to save the lives of those around him. Remarkable. Miraculous. So if you go on Twitter, there's all kinds of videos that you could see of these rounds just going through targets, watermelons, etc., just decimating whatever they hit. And so the odds of this being real are just 1 in a million, to the point where, yes, if it was true, it would be a miracle. If you believe in miracles, God bless you. I don't believe in miracles. I believe in cover-ups. That's what I believe in. I believe in the long documented history of cover-ups, and that's what this seems like to me. So Chris Martinson says, this is next level BS. The standard 30-06 round will go all the way through 14-inch pine trees with ease. I'm sorry, but this story isn't true. Also, the pounds of force would have pushed Charlie's head backwards violently if it had absorbed and stopped the bullet completely. I was asked to suspend simple laws of physics on 9/11. I'm not doing it this time either. Must be talking about that building that didn't get hit by anything that fell down from an office fire. Maybe that's what he's talking about there. I don't know. I'm no expert.
The one where there are videos of the news saying the building collapsed before it actually collapsed.
Yeah, that one.
That one.
Uncalled for him to bring that up. That totally checked out.
That's crazy shit.
Other than that, I think he makes some good points there. So Health Ranger says, I'm really not trying to be graphic, and it pains me to even have to address this, but the narrative is becoming so delusional, we must call it out. If a 30-06 round, which carries 300 foot-pounds of energy, 3,000 plus foot-pounds of energy, entered his neck and was stopped by his neck would have, I don't even want to say that's too graphic, but you all see that. Obviously, this immense damage. Why? Because 3,000 foot-pounds of energy has to go somewhere. If a round exits the body, it takes remaining energy with it. But if it doesn't exit the body, then 100% of the energy is delivered to the tissues being impacted. If you deliver 3,000 foot-pounds of energy to literally any human neck in a fraction of a second, it's going to be like a grenade went off. And clearly that didn't happen. We can now conclusively say he was not shot with a 30-06 round, so somebody's lying, and yes, it's a cover-up. I'm not an expert on ballistics, obviously, so I'm just reading his opinion here. In explaining this shooting, you can't make up your own laws of physics and anatomy. or explanation has to align with reality. Otherwise, it's just BS. Brian Ferenczi says, this is some of the most over-the-top gaslighting I have ever seen, literally claiming Charlie Kirk's bones were so like Superman, they stopped a bullet designed to take down a moose. Something is very wrong here. Buck Johnson says, I texted a friend who's a professional sniper and SWAT guy. Here's his response to this story. I find it very unlikely that his neck stopped a bullet with 2,500 foot-pounds of kinetic energy. The 3006 is the same diameter of our 308 bullets, but with more powder velocity. I've never seen a 308 not pass through a head, neck, or torso. A 3006 would be more hard-hitting. As for the news piece, if it's real, it's strange and hard to understand the purpose and message. So Genghis Khan, who is a retired sniper, according to him, says this is the best yet. Apparently, Charlie Kirk's body has the same rating as a level 4 steel or ceramic bulletproof plate rating and stopped the 3006 round, which was a direct hit on his throat. They suddenly and miraculously found the bullet. You can't make this shit up. A bullet which can kill an elk or full-grown grizzly bear and go through half an inch of steel plate at 100 yards was stopped in its tracks by Charlie Kirk's neck, apparently, and that's why there was no exit wound. It's a miracle. Now I've heard everything. But what would I know, right? I'm just a retired sniper. No exit wound confirmed, says Murray. Now everyone who is calling Candace a liar about that fact can apologize. What was the caliber of the bullet? The surgeon admitting that it was a miracle makes the official story even harder to believe. So yeah, here is Candace Owens having claimed that she saw the video from the camera directly behind Charlie Kirk, the one that was stationed behind him. She says there was no blood, there was no gore from that angle, which means there was no exit wound. So she sets this up for a minute and then she gets into it.
Agrees that rather than send the footage, he will get onto a FaceTime call with me and he will show me the footage on his computer. He did that and I watched the footage and I'm going to tell you what I saw. And to the people specifically, the people that are in the military, people that know weapons, I'm telling you this because you might be able to add more color or more clarity here. What you would expect to see. If given the weapon that they have said did this, the bullet they have said did this, I don't know anything about any of this. So I'm just telling you what I saw, okay? First and foremost, there is nothing gory about this shot at all. And so again, I am still going to work with him to get me the footage so that I think it should be shared. There's nothing gory about this footage from the back. The thing that really stood out to me, and I just kept asking him to replay it over and over and over again, is that there's no blood. There's no blood from the back. There is no blood. So I think a lot of people were wondering whether or not that bullet pierced and went out to the back. I think I vaguely even remember, and Skylar, you can maybe live look this up, but like I thought the feds were saying they were looking for a bullet at some point, which is now very alarming to me. I don't understand that. How could they have been looking for a bullet? Because if I'm not seeing, and there isn't, I'm telling you, what happens in the front is not what happens in the back at all. If I'm not seeing any blood, what are we to take from that?
What I take from that is that there was no exit wound if the shot came in from the direction that we all think, if most of us who have seen the video, and if you haven't, it's horrible to see, so I can't say I urge you to, but you see a wound and blood coming out, and what she's saying is when she saw the angle from the back, there was no blood from that angle, which means if that was coming in from the front, there could have been no exit wound. Now, at the time she made this video, they had not released that tweet. Now they're saying the bullet was inside of him. The bullet was inside of him, which, again, for all these reasons that we've been looking at, it's just very, very hard to believe that his neck, which does not have strong bones in it, I mean, your neck doesn't have strong bones. Even if it did, you're talking about a bullet that, go through trees, killed moose and elk and buffalo. It just seems extraordinary unlikely, which is why the surgeon supposedly said it's a miracle. it's a miracle. So now we have to believe in miracles if we want to believe what they're telling us. And Candace, yesterday night, assumedly in response to all this was not a reply, but it's pretty obvious what she's getting at here. Right about now, I think that whoever made the decision to assassinate Charlie Kirk is recognizing that it was a terrible mistake. They thought they were going to grassy knoll it. Instead, they awaken the entire world. So, yeah, those are strong words from someone whose story was vindicated to the extent that she could know anything. Obviously, she couldn't know where the bullet was or whether they found one or not. But what she's saying is, look, from the angle I saw, there was no blood, which means there was no exit wound. And yeah, you had a lot of, she gets a lot of shit. A lot of people accused her of lying and making it up. And obviously she was not lying. Obviously there was no exit wound from the back. So now you have to say, okay, how could that bullet, that size, fired from that range, that had to be moving close, 2,000 feet per second, didn't make it through? Or was that not the bullet that hit him? Like, that's just a reasonable question at this point. And these questions are starting to add up to the point where, as we're going to see in our next segment, Kash Patel is now starting to validate some of these suspicions. He's not brushing off all of this as crazy conspiracy talk. He can't. He can't. Too many people are asking too many questions, and it's not just loony left-wing people or like habitual conspiracy theorist people who are asking these questions. These questions are becoming mainstream because this just does not add up. It just does not add up. And this is just one more thing where you look at it, and now we're supposed to believe in miracles. That's your explanation. It was a miracle that the bullet didn't make it through. I don't buy it. I don't buy it one bit. And with that, I welcome back to the soundboard returning champion, Michael Savage.
I can't take the bullshit from this fucking government. It's lying to us.
Yes. Yeah. Amen. Amen, Dr. Savage. One more time.
I can't take the bullshit from this fucking government. It's lying to us.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a bunch of bullshit. This is adding up to be a huge pile of bullshit, I think. Well, I'm not alone, obviously.
I think what Candace doesn't understand, because I'm not sexist, I'm not a misogynist, but, Candace is a woman. All the men in this space, we don't just sell supplements, we take them. Yeah. And Charlie was taking a bone supplement that could have stopped that round.
You know what I have to say? I know you're doing a bit here, but I do have to say, because I almost put this in the segment, but I didn't because he got a fact wrong. Not the first time Alex Jones has gotten a fact wrong. But Alex Jones did make a video in response to this and said, yeah, this is bullshit. This is definitely a cover-up now. He got it wrong. He said they didn't find a bullet when they did actually find a bullet. So it got community noted, and he got, shit for that. So I didn't include that in here since I wanted to keep things kind of accurate. But on a large point, he's now on the page of, and he even said, hey, who knows? Maybe Israel did do it, so yeah.
This is a very difficult moment to figure out how not to piss off most of my paying subscribers.
Yeah.
So he has a different take every day.
It is a different take every day.
One day it's they killed Charlie because he loved family and Jesus.
Right.
And then the next day it's the Jews. And then the next day that's just crazy talk. It was the transes. He's really, like, every day he's taking the temperature
seeing what works.
To see what side of the line he wants to fall on. It's obviously a cover up. I know you're covering this in the next segment. These guys, Patel, Bongino, they're just fucking shills. Like, in my opinion, if Kash Patel is making allowances for that, it's just to sheepdog people back into an official narrative.
That could
like,
very well be true.
He's not a real FBI director.
Look,
he just takes orders from the top and does what they tell him to do. He has no independence. This is a man, as we said over and over and over again, when people were glazing Crazy Eyes Patel, this guy wrote a fucking children's book where he cast himself as a wizard protecting King Donald, and you thought this would be a good guy to run the FBI? You thought he was going to have some kind of independence? What if a Democrat appointed an FBI director with that backstory? You'd be mocking that to Kingdom Come. You'd probably call for an investigation. I just can't believe some of the people who should have known better, who have done good work, who were running around behaving as if Kash Patel was going to clean up the deep state and not simply replace it with their own version.
Yeah, it is pretty atrocious stuff, which we'll get to, like I said, in the next piece. But you just add this to the list of things that now you have to believe. This is back when I thought it mattered, I used to argue about 9/11 with a lot of people. And when you just add up piece after piece after piece, that just makes no sense. Eventually you come to the conclusion that the official story makes no sense. Now that's the only conclusion we could reach right now, right? And look, as Max Blumenthal has said when he's talked about this a number of times, he says, look, if I can be convinced that this was a lone wolf leftist who acted alone, I'd be totally willing to accept that. As would I said, I condemn the shooting no matter who did it for what reason. I don't have an axe to grind in terms of saying, no, it can't possibly be. No, like wherever the facts go, they go. These are not these are not I'm sorry. Like you can't say, I talked to the surgeon and he said it was a miracle that this bullet, which tears through everything it hits, didn't produce an exit wound. You got to do better than that. I'm sorry. It's a miracle. Now I have to believe in miracles. So now what you're saying is you have to believe in miracles to believe what they're saying.
Well, you know who that's for.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they're
but
trying.
According to this guy,
they're
that's
trying
what the
a lot
surgeon
of.
said.
Yeah, they're trying
That's
a
all I'm
lot of
saying.
different things. They're trying a lot of different things to appeal to a certain portion of their base. It's going to say, "Did you hear that bullet didn't even go through? Even the surgeon said it was a miracle. Praise Jesus."
Yeah.
Now that's not everyone in that coalition. That is a very, very large and arguably most active part of that coalition. And, this is part of why some people, including myself, have a lot of skepticism of organized religion, because it's always been used as a means of control by the unscrupulous. Like whatever your personal experience or belief of religion is, you can set that aside as a separate question. The way that these institutions and concepts can be manipulated by people in power, I think that's something that everyone can agree on, whatever your personal religious beliefs are. And that's a very good example of it. They're trying to appeal to people's belief in miracles. And, wow, because he was a Christian, that's why that happened.
Yes, absolutely.
Please clap.